it's USA all day. Heading into the Ryder Cup, we were led to believe that this team was in shambles. Players at odds, public spats, a lack of will and want to. Well, Team USA has promptly cast those notions into the depths of Lake Michigan. Heading into Sunday singles, the Americans hold a commanding 11-5 lead, their largest two-day cushion since 1975. And while there's still 12 points for the taking on Sunday, this does appear to be a European side simply outclassed. Taking a look here at session number 3, Saturday morning, the Americans did exactly what they did both Friday sessions, claiming 3 of the possible 4 points, once again led by the unbeaten duo of Dustin Johnson and Collin Morikawa. Then in the PM session, you get the likes of Bryson, Finau, English, Scheffler coming off the bench. The Euros did show up for 4-ball, claiming 2 points and a bit of momentum in the form of Shane Lowry, but the hole has been dug deeper than the bunkers left of 17. The Europeans will now look to make the largest Sunday comeback in Ryder Cup history. And there's a look at those afternoon 4-ball numbers. The Europeans claiming points thanks to a nice putt there on the 18th by Shane Lowry. Poulter and McIlroy boat raced. Scheffler and DeChambeau 3-1. They take down Fleetwood and Hovland. Rahm and Garcia, the Spaniards, doing what they were asked to do, taking a point from Koepka and Spieth. For more from Whistling Straits, we welcome in the best in the business, CBS senior golf writer Kyle Porter. KP, what a day. The U.S. going to head into Sunday singles with a commanding 11-5 lead. Before we get into the matchups, the big takeaways, just give us a sense of the scene. It's so fantastic. Saturday by the lake, what was it like for you?
It was awesome. You know, it really, I think the crowd here really sensed the Americans taking over this event on Saturday. The first tee in the morning session was, you know, on Friday it was tepid. It was okay. It wasn't amazing, but on Saturday it was really good. We got a chant of "We want Rory" at Padraig Harrington to kind of open things up. And the U.S. does want Rory right now because he's not playing very well. But then the afternoon, you know, it was really interesting in the afternoon, Joe, because you know, the U.S. goes out and you kind of got all these close matches, and Rahm and Sergio are going back and forth, and the U.S. ends up 2-2 in the afternoon, and it felt like this kind of a letdown, right? You know, fans kind of walk off like, oh, you know, it wasn't. They were used to these 3-1 routes, and it's like, man, if you split the rest of the way, you win 17-11. So it was really interesting to kind of see everybody not you know, they weren't bummed out, but it did feel like to split a session a bit of a letdown, especially compared to the first 3 sessions of the week.
It is a place where the spotted cow flows like water, and the cheese curds have made more noise than this European side has throughout the week. So perhaps by the late hours there on Saturday, everyone was feeling a bit of fatigue, whether or not they were in the lineup or out there on the outside of the ropes. As for the U.S., much was made about the youth, the inexperience, maybe some of the off-the-course stuff that this group was going through, but Morikawa's been out of this world. Scheffler with some big moments. Xander notching points. Outside of the roster differences, do you sense a shift in the American ethos around this event over the last 2 days?
100%. And Joe, I thought this coming into the week, and it's hard to tell when you're winning 11-5 on Saturday night. Everybody loves each other, right? So it's hard to tell if it's a real generational shift. But I was talking to some guys about this today. When Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson are on this team like they have been for the last 30 years, they are such big personalities and big kind of you know, names, and they're huge personas. And when you have those guys in the room, they can become kind of black holes. They can suck up everything else that's in that room. And this team seems more balanced, at least personality-wise. It does seem like they all like each other. We were on 17 as the Bryson Scotty Scheffler match ended up. They ended that one on 17, and the guy that I was with said, man, it seems like everybody enjoys each other and gets along, which shouldn't be this big shocking thing, but for the Americans at time, that has been a shocking thing. That has been the case. So I think that part of it is fun to watch, but you know, with the 6 rookies, it does feel like this kind of big generational shift for the Americans, and kind of sets them up, I think, for the next several years of team golf on the U.S. side.
Yeah, all those rookie Americans well past baptized at this point. Everyone on the American team has won a match thus far. We'll see how it all goes down on Sunday. You know, I could sit here, KP, and talk an hour with you, but I do need your standouts. If you had to name an American MVP to this point, who would it be? We know DJ, he's out there unbeaten right now. Morikawa's been fantastic as well. There's been some heartbeat guys behind the scenes. 18s. Who's your MVP to this point?
Yeah, it's got to be one of those two. I mean, DJ has just quietly gone 4-0, right? Everybody talks about John. They should talk about John Rahm because he's got basically an entire continent on his back and going 3-0-1 over the first four sessions. But DJ goes 4-0, and, you know, it's interesting. We were talking about this as well. He's gotten some partners this year that are really, really good. Colin Morikawa is a two-time major winner. Xander Schauffele is obviously really great PGA Tour player. And in the past, he's gotten, you know, some Matt Kuchars, some, I can't remember all of his partners. I think he's been with like Brandt Snedeker, some different guys like that maybe those guys aren't to the caliber of player that a Morikawa or a Schauffele is. So I think that has benefited him as well. But I think he's got like kind of quietly been, you know, obviously 4-0, but kind of been the MVP of this U.S. team. And we haven't really talked about him a ton. Everybody talks about Bryson and JT and Spieth and Brooks. And then obviously Morikawa has been great. He's so relentless. He's so demoralizing to play against in a match play situation because every iron's to 8 feet, 5 feet, and you're playing against him and you're like, God, there's no wedge. I can't wedge my way in here. You know, there's no foothold to kind of gain some momentum against a guy like Colin Morikawa. So I think those two guys for me have really been the standouts, kind of quietly so. For this United States team.
Yeah, you're kind of out of sight, out of mind if you're up 3 the entire week, and that's where that duo has been for the majority of it. Dustin Johnson, the first American player to win a match in each of the first 4 sessions in the Ryder Cup since Larry Nelson in 1979. So what he's doing is also historic. He'll look to make it a perfect 5 of 5 on Sunday in terms of points. You're right there amongst it, KP. Is there an air of Saturday night celebration around this U.S. group as they came off of 18 here in the PM session? I mean, we're shotgunning cold ones between sessions out here. Do you think Strix dials the group back in, or do you think that there maybe is a little bit of celebration here on Saturday night?
Well, it felt a little celebratory even after the first session on Saturday morning, Joe. Right behind me here is where Daniel Berger and Justin Thomas were shotgunning Michelob Ultra. But before the fourth session of the week, I don't know if Steve Stricker loved that, but it was. You know, it was a moment that it's going to go one of two ways. You're going to look back and say, oh, that was fun, that was funny, that was cool. Or it's going to get, you know, the crying Jordan meme with Michael Jordan on site. You know, you're going to put those crying Jordan faces on Justin Thomas and Daniel Berger if Europe had ended up coming back. But, you know, we were walking off 17. Like I said, that's where the last match of the day ended with Bryson and Scottie Scheffler. And everybody's over there. You've got all the players. You've got wives, girlfriends, coaches. Everybody's on the 17th green. And I looked at the guy that I was with and I said, man, it feels like they weren't celebrating, they weren't jumping up and down, but it felt like everybody was kind of waiting for the trophy to be brought out. You know, obviously they know they have to wait until Sunday, but it's kind of a formality at this point to go into Sunday up 6, up 11-5. You know, you only have to get 3.5 points out of, you know, 12 matches where you'll probably be favored in 9 of them, 10 of them, maybe 11 of them. Maybe Rahm is the only one that you're not favored in. So it's definitely going to be a coronation here at Whistling Straits on Sunday.
I mean, back to the Berger JT scene there between sessions. The talking heads can't have it both ways. They say this American squad doesn't have enough fun. Well, that's good old-fashioned American fun with some domestics there between 18s. We've all been there, KP. Maybe not in this standing, but it was a fantastic scene.
Yeah, you and I haven't been there in the arena, but we have definitely seen that before. And I think the other thing is, you know, people love to get worked up about the Ryder Cup. Oh, well, that's not proper. The fans are not proper. It's not proper sportsmanship. It's like, man, this is an exhibition. Like I understand where you're coming from about some of the, like, don't talk during guys' backswings, don't yell when they're putting, stuff like that. But it's the Ryder Cup. Like, yeah, you're gonna putt stuff out, Bryson DeChambeau. Yeah, guys are gonna shotgun beers on the first tee. Yeah, people are gonna cheer when balls run off the green for the European side and go into the water. Do I love that stuff? Do I think it's like the greatest thing ever? No, probably not. But it's also not as big of a deal, I think, as people make it. And the U.S. team was clearly having some fun on Saturday afternoon.
It's what we do. Such will be the conversation here in a couple of years' time when this thing moves abroad. We'll be having the same conversation with different teams on different sides of it. But as for the Euros individual standout, as you said, with all due respect to the spark plug that was Shane Lowry, John Rahm, his 3.5 points, as you said, attempting to shoulder the weight of a continent. The world #1, absolutely built for this, KP. So I'll ask it this way. What's missing from this European team? For the last couple decades, they've always outperformed their average world ranking these 3 days, but that's not the case this go around.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think obviously Rory. I mean, you can't, if you're Europe, you can't get 0 points. I mean, Rory hadn't played the 16th hole this week. He hadn't made it to 16 in his 3 matches, and he hasn't gotten great partners. You know, he's been with Poulter, who is not playing great golf, but. I mean, if you would have told me on Monday, hey, Rory's not going to make it to the 16th tee, and it's not going to be because he won his matches, it's going to be because he lost them, I would have said Europe has no shot. They're just not, I think they're not getting enough out of their horses, even out of somebody like Hovland, who's playing pretty well this week. They haven't gotten enough. And then, you know, at the bottom, they keep running guys like Westwood and Fitzpatrick out there, and it's just, they're overmatched on a golf course like this. I really think the golf course, you know, an interesting question came up in the media center earlier today. We were talking about, hey, let's flip this around. What if this year's Ryder Cup is played in Paris at Le Golf National, where, you know, the setup is obviously very much favors the Europeans? I honestly still think the Americans would probably win, but man, it'd be closer, right? Because guys like Fitzpatrick and Poulter are helped out by a shorter, tighter course where they're not going up against Scotty Scheffler and Tony Finau, who are just, you know, blasting it all over this place. So the Europeans are very much outmanned, outgunned at the bottom of their roster, and they're not getting enough from the top of it so far this week.
I'm glad to see the global ambassador to all things Rory getting out in front of this story. Kyle Porter, we appreciate it. As always, Team USA now just 3.5 points from reclaiming the cup. It will either be the greatest comeback in Ryder Cup history or more likely the Lakeside landslide. Kyle Porter offering you a front row seat to history. Thank you, my friend. And don't forget, there's only one place to be at the conclusion of each and every round of the Ryder Cup and each and every round on tour for that matter. It's the First Cut Podcast. Our guys take you under the ropes and into the action with winning picks and can't miss analysis. Download and subscribe. The First Cut.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.